recent years, New Zealand has faced a new wave of organized crime. At the center of this transformation are the so-called 501s, gang members deported from Australia under tough new immigration laws.
In July, Lee was deported to Aotearoa.
We're not going after innocent people. We're going after the most serious criminals. Outlaw motorcycle gang members are the biggest distributors of drugs in this country. Many of these criminals will claim that they're picked at random somehow, that we're targeting people that don't have criminal histories. It's a nonsense. We are looking at those criminals who are identified by the police and intelligence agencies around the country that are the highest value targets.
Their arrival has unleashed a new era of violence, drugs, and organized criminal networks across Aotearoa. You are now watching another episode of Oz Underworld. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Just go fade it up. We stay blazing up. Still stay raising up. Tucked in front.
These deportees didn't just bring themselves. They brought experience. Many had cut their teeth in Australia's toughest outlaw, motorcycle clubs and street gangs, learning the business of organized crime in Sydney and Melbourne. When they landed in New Zealand, they imported those same methods of violence and intimidation. The result was immediate. Traditional Maori and Pacifica, gangs like the Mongrel Mob and Black Power, suddenly faced new rivals, deportees, who were more ruthless, more disciplined, and better connected to international drug networks. The balance of power began to shift. In the late 1980s and early 90s, waves of Polynesian and Maori migration brought new strength to Australia's streets. Many young men, seeking identity and brotherhood, founded in outlaw motorcycle clubs. Their toughness and loyalty earned them respect, and soon they weren't just members, they were leaders. But life inside the clubs was more than bikers and colors. It was an education in organized crime, drugs, extortion, and the underground economy. When many of these men later returned to New Zealand, they carried that knowledge back with them, reshaping gangs at home and forever changing the landscape of crime across the Tasman. One of the most notorious 501 deportees was Pasilika Naufahu, a trailblazer in New Zealand's organized crime scene, and among the first to be sent back under Section 501.
They told me in my rights that I failed a character test, Section 189, and they said, we've got to take you to jail, and then that's it. I'm here now.
Pasilika Naufahu quickly rose to prominence as the founding president of the Comancheros in New Zealand. A 501 deportee from Australia, he brought with him the connections and discipline of the Australian underworld. Under his leadership, the Comancheros expanded rapidly, building ties to international drug networks and challenging New Zealand's traditional gangs. The story goes that when Pasilika first arrived, he walked alone into the clubhouse of one of New Zealand's most powerful and established gangs. Standing his ground, he declared he was bringing the Comancheros to New Zealand and warned them they could either step aside or face a war. It's alleged that Australian kingpin Peter Vayusu, leader of the infamous bloodline Ahinga, was the one who funded Pasilika in starting the Comancheros in New Zealand. Pasilika's eventual arrest and police raids highlighted both his influence and the growing impact of the 501s on New Zealand's organized crime. Methamphetamine quickly became the currency of choice. With Australian underworld contacts, 501 deportees flooded the New Zealand market with meth, driving addiction, violence, and competition. For the first time, NZ gangs were plugged directly into global cartels. Police noted a sharp escalation in violence. Drive-by shootings, kidnappings, and public gun battles became more common. The 501s brought a new level of professionalism, structured crews, military-style discipline, and connections back to Australia's outlaw clubs like the Comancheros, Bandidos, and Rebels. For local gangs, this was both a threat and an opportunity. Some chose to fight back, sparking bloody turf wars. Others formed alliances with the deportees, merging Australian underworld know-how with New Zealand's established street networks. Communities felt the impact. Innocent families were caught in crossfires while meth devastated small towns. Politicians accused Australia of exporting its criminals and leaving New Zealand to deal with the fallout.
Anyone who claims that it is somehow going to make Australia less safe, that is not true. and it is not fair.
Law enforcement responded with new task forces targeting deportee-led gangs. Police raided safe houses, seized millions in drugs and cash, and introduced firearm bans. But every time one network was dismantled, another seemed to rise in its place. By the 2020s, the 501s had permanently changed New Zealand's criminal landscape. What was once dominated by local gangs was now a battlefield of transnational, organised crime, with Australia's deportation policy at the heart of the storm. Today, the fight continues. Police work tirelessly to contain gang violence, but the influence of the 501s remains deeply entrenched. From meth pipelines to organized shootings, their impact has reshaped the underworld, and it shows no sign of slowing down. The story of the 501 deportees is a warning of how policies in one country can ignite chaos in another. For New Zealand, the legacy of Australia's deportation regime will echo for decades to come. From Australia's decision to deport its criminals to the streets of NZ, the 501s have elevated organized crime in New Zealand to levels never seen before. This is not just a gang story, it's a trans-Tasman crisis.